Hey guys, it's Mrs. Walters here. Just want to introduce you to some terms that I think are really important for you to know as we begin reading the Odyssey. These are terms that you will be tested over at the end of the Odyssey unit, and you can find them on Moodle under Topic 30. It's listed at the top of Topic 30 as literary terms for the Odyssey, new coasts, and Poseidon's son. So I'll do a couple of these sessions to get you comfortable with this terminology so it's not new information to you when we're reading it together out loud. All right, let's look at our first term. Our first word is epic. And so lots of you are going to think that epic is like something huge, like something of epic proportion that happens. When we're looking at the Odyssey, though, it's actually just a long narrative poem. In fact, it's a long narrative poem about the adventures and the deeds of our hero. And in this case, it is Odysseus that's our hero. So it's a story poem with lots of drama and intense emotions. Second term that you need to know is epic hero. So an epic is really hard to have unless you have an epic hero when you look at Greek mythology. So in this case, an epic hero is someone who showcases all the qualities that the Greeks admired in a hero, such as strength, bravery, loyalty, cleverness, responsibility, intelligence, determination, beauty, and so much more. In fact, as we read through the Odyssey together, I'll be asking you to determine which of these epic hero qualities Odysseus himself displayed and showcased. Next term I want you to know is muse. So, muse is actually just the goddess of arts and poetry. When you think about an artist or a songwriter, a lot of times they will say, my wife or my husband was my muse. They were the person that inspired me to write this or to paint this picture or to throw this pot. So, just the person that gave them inspiration, and that term is derived from the goddess of arts and poetry. Next word I want you to know is invocation. And an invocation, when we're looking at the Odyssey, was just a prayer to the muse. So, a person that was telling the story of the Odyssey would be asking the muse to help them tell the story in the best way possible so that it may never be forgotten. In fact, I'm going to read the invocation to you as the very first part of the Odyssey. So, just a prayer asking for help to tell the story exactly how it's supposed to be told. Nope, next term, skipped right over it. We've got scop. So that's probably a really weird word to you guys. You're maybe not very familiar with it because it's not something you would have heard before. So let's find out what it means. It's just a traveling poet or a poet as represented in Old English poetry rhyme in the original version. So why in the world would they have needed a scop in the time of Odysseus? Well, the reality is, if you guys remember, that this story was written about 800 BC. And did they have pens and paper? No, they didn't. So, how did they tell their stories? How did they share their stories with one another? It wasn't by writing it down, it was through oral storytelling. So they needed a scop, a person that would go from town to town and tell these stories over and over again. So in this case, we're looking at a scop as a traveling poet, someone who shared the story of Odysseus with other communities. One more term for you guys, and this one is a fun one. I want you to think about this. Epithet. Epithet, that's a weird word, right? Let's see. Epithet is just a short descriptive phrase. For example, we might see Odysseus refer to himself as old contender. Or we might see someone who is a track star or a sprinter refer to themselves as swift-footed one. So that is a word that I want you guys to start playing around with. I want you to come up with some short descriptive phrases all on your own that would describe yourself. Okay, so it could be describing yourself as your parents' son or daughter. For example, I could say that I am Samantha's mom or Hudson's mom. Uh, You'll see Odysseus refer to himself as Laertes' son. So I want you to be thinking about some epithets that you could share with me. In fact, that will be one of your assignments and probably a test question as well. All right, guys. So that's all of it. We are off to read the Invocation, New Coasts, and Poseidon's Son. See you there.